Hello again, it's Phil Smy here. Are you an artist? Of course you are. You're a business artist. That's why you need the Business Model Canvas. So in this little review, maybe not so little, we'll see, I'm going to talk about this great book called Business Model Generation, heavily used. Maybe I blocked the mic there. I'm doing this one because often people come up to me and ask me about, how do you structure a business? And, when I say often, I mean like a couple times. And when I say people, I mean me.
Industry on Parade visits Wilmington High School in Wilmington, Delaware, to learn how young people prepare for careers in the white-collar field. That is, in offices or in distributive occupations.
The way that it is that it's easy to talk about, easy-ish. Man, I'm going back and forth in this one. Anyway, it's easy-ish to talk about things like management structures and, follow your passion, which we're going to get to in another one, and stuff like this. But, okay, you got an idea, kind of. How do you spec out a business, In the old days, we used to do a business plan. And a business plan is this 50-page or more-ish. I've said that a lot as well, sorry. 50-page or more-ish document where you list all these things and this and that, and you do crap like 5-year business plans, which are absolute BS.
In 1928, Stalin announced the first 5-year plan.
If anyone tells you that they've followed their 5-year business plan, run far and run fast, because they're a liar. I've done a lot of businesses and a lot of business plans, and never ever has a 5-year plan worked out. And that's even with the help of a billionaire writing my business plan. So, okay, enough about that. Let's talk about this book. The book's called Business Model Generation, and it's actually by kind of like a group of people led by, I'm going to have to read his name because it's Alexander Osterwalder or Osterwalder. Depends where he's from. If he's actually from Germany, if he's American, I don't know. And Yves Pigneur, who's probably from France. These guys and a group of their friends, online and off, put together something called the Business Model Generation. And at the heart of that is something called the Business Model Canvas. With the aid of a green screen, I might actually do something like funky here. The Business Model Canvas is a single sheet of paper. Of course, you need to make it pretty big, but a single sheet of paper that you can go through and sketch out the structure of your business in many different facets. So let's break down those areas. No, let's tag those areas for now. And then we'll go into it a little more in depth. And I'll tell you why just a little in a second. So there's 9 blocks in the Business Model Canvas. The first one, kind of going left to rightish, is key activities. What do you have to do to get your value proposition out to a customer segment? Yes, I'm using jargon. Now, next is key resources. What do you need to get your value proposition to market? Third is key partners. Who do you need to get your value proposition to market? The fourth, down the middle, value proposition. What value do you deliver to each of your customer segments? What problem of each customer segment are you actually solving? Customer segment, finally. Who are you creating value for? Channels. How do you reach each customer segment? Customer relationship. How do customer segments relate to your company? How do you acquire them, engage with them, retain them? We've talked about those things before. Finally, cost. What are the most important costs inherent with this model you're creating? And of course, the one everyone loves, revenue. What are your customers willing to pay for? How much are they willing to pay for it? And what are they paying right now to solve these problems? So those are the 9 areas of the business model canvas. And the canvas is laid out in a seemingly random structure that is actually not random, of course. So it groups together the customer side and the infrastructure side. And down the middle is the value proposition. These sides, customer and infrastructure, can also be called value for the customer side and efficiency for the infrastructure side. Like I say, the value proposition, this thing that you're offering as a solution, a product, or a service, is right down the middle. That's the center of your business. You kind of go actually from right to left. So for Westerners, it's kind of a bit jarring, which maybe is actually a help as well. So how do you fill this thing out? The order seems to be the best, at least the way I've worked on it, is you kind of have a team at the beginning there of customer segment and what are you offering the customer segment, value proposition. Then you go into channels. How do you reach these customers? How do you relate to them? And how do you make your money? That's kind of one block, that customer side. The other side, the infrastructure side, you start out with what do you need to get there? What do you do to get there? Who can help you? And what is all that going to cost you? So those are the 2 chunks, and that's the order that I normally fill it out in. And like I say, actually, you end up with 1 page as opposed to 50 pages, and it's very clear, and it's actually very invigorating in the way that it's put together to help you get business ideas. You can't do all that by yourself, and that's the second half of this book has patterns, and that's kind of like business model examples that use similar stuff in these blocks. Arguably, I think it's the most helpful part of the book because you really need help in figuring this out, I think, at the beginning. And it also, some of them offer new ways of combining the blocks, which kind of gives you some insights into structuring your business. So I want to look at these patterns that they've got because the patterns are really helpful to me. Pattern number 1 was unbundling, and that's where you break down that business model canvas into 3 sections. And those are actually 3 distinct businesses, maybe inside of one company, but 3 distinct businesses, each with its own value proposition, customer segment, etc. And the examples that they give are like a bank or a telco. And yes, big companies use business model generation and business model canvas. The second is the long tail, made famous by that book, I think by Chris Anderson, I think it is. And that's where you sell less of more. So you focus on many niche products. And the examples in the book are book publishing, which is a new kind of book publishing, like self-publishing, not for an individual, but as the company. And Lego. The Lego example is genius, actually. The third business pattern is the multi-sided pattern, and that's where you bring together 2 or more interdependent groups of customers. And your value proposition is facilitating these introductions. To do this, you have to control the platform for introduction, and that's why the examples are things like Google or eBay, where you're connecting 2 people together, or a dating site. Pattern number 4 is free as a business model. You have one customer segment. You have multiple customer segments. You have to have that. But one of these customer segments continuously, ongoing, gets benefit from you offering some value proposition for free. And another part of this model, or perhaps a different customer segment, is the thing that generates your revenue. You have some sub-patterns to this, which is freemium, where you get people in for free, and then that customer segment itself starts paying, or bait and hook, where you get people in with a seemingly free offer, but what they really need to make that free offer work is something that costs money. Think of the razor blades All hail King Gillette. The examples for this are free newspapers like Metro and Skype, Google. Those are all great ones that is free as a business model. And the fifth pattern in here is the open business model. This is collaborating with outside partners. This one's complicated in some ways. There's one simple part of it, and that is you have assets that are sitting around being unused, and you let outside partners come in and use those assets, like if you have a laboratory, for instance. And that's why one of the examples is GlaxoSmithKline. But you can also go out to key partners and have those partners integrate with you to create innovation. So I'm going to stop there because as I was preparing for this book review, I realized how important and exciting this book and the concepts are. And there's another book also about creating your value proposition. So what I've decided to do is put together a little series about this using my own new company that I'm starting here in Japan that I've never talked about before, but it'll be interesting perhaps to you to see how I go through or went through the business model canvas and came up with ideas and changed the ideas about this company. So if you want to see more about that, then you definitely should subscribe to my YouTube channel. You should also perhaps go over to my website, philsmy.com. There'll be a link somewhere, and sign up for my newsletter there, because I'm going to put some of the content, help and worksheets and things like that exclusively on philsmy.com. So we hope to see you around, and we hope that you're at the stage where you want to talk about actually structuring a business. See you soon.